Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. Welcome back to Carpe Diem Sailing. If you're new to the channel, my name's Marco. I'm a Sail Canada cruising instructor, and in today's video I'll be reviewing a revolutionary piece of marine safety gear, the SeeArch. Welcome to episode 41, the SeeArch. So, full disclosure, the product that I'll be reviewing in today's video, the SeeArch, there are two versions, the Mariner and the Sport. I've had one each of them provided to me by the manufacturer free of charge for me to play with and review. And I have told them that I would be doing an honest review, I'd be trying it out and giving them my honest thoughts. So, just to let you know, yes, they have provided them for me, but as you'll see in the video, you'll see whether it works or not, and I intend to provide an honest review. The SeeArch is a relatively new concept in marine safety equipment. It's meant to be worn with a PFD, not instead of a PFD, and it can be worn on the front or on the back. There are two versions, the Sport version, which is good for canoeists, kayakers, stand-up paddleboarders, and the like, and the Mariner version, which is meant for more professional uses, offshore sailing, that sort of thing. The concept of the SeeArch is trifold. There's three things. So one is it helps you be seen, two, helps you float, and three, it helps you be recovered. And that's what we're going to be trying today with our volunteer Hannah. We're going to be going in the water, and she's going to be deploying it, and then we're going to try and recover and see how it goes, and then we're going to switch around and see if Hannah can pull me out of the water. So we're going to be deploying both versions. Once they've deployed, there is a rearm kit that can be used as well to reset it.
Awesome, right?
All right, and then try to figure out the Velcro thing there and separate it. So pull the Velcro out and take it, like separate the, pull the tube away from your body. So you should pull that Velcro flap up.
Yeah. Got it.
All right, now stick your arms through it. The other way around so that you've got it, yeah. Perfect. Okay. And here. All right, got it? It will come up, yeah. So as you get closer, you're going to push it up, pass it up to me. All right. All right. So now that we've made contact, we've brought them in alongside, I'm going to take my main halyard and I'm going to tie the halyard through the arch. The arch will actually support, we'll be able to lift 500 pounds. And what we're going to do first is we're going to be lifting her under the armpits, and then we're going to try again where you can be sitting in it. So we're going to try two different lifts. And here we go. And we're up. All right.
That was awesome.
So this time, over the shoulders and down and into a sitting position, and holding onto the arch. Bring your arms up and hold onto the arch. Perfect. And just try to stay in that seated position. And again, using my main halyard winch. And there we go. So then it was my turn to go in the water. I turned my mic off, so I'm just going to do a voiceover now of what happened. Found the toggle easily enough. The SeeArch inflated very quickly, holding the SeeArch up to maximize visibility, and then fussing a little bit with the Velcro flap that holds the bladder to the belt. But again, with a bit of practice, once you get familiar with it, that's not really a big deal. There is a lanyard connecting, a webbing lanyard that connects the bladder to the belt. So once it's connected, even if in strong wind, it's not going to blow away. Slipping it over my shoulders. And in this case, I just did a couple of kicks to swim back towards the boat. In real life, if need be, you could use a throw bag like I did in the previous clip. Now you'll see Hannah here. Hannah is a member of our local search and rescue unit. And so she's connecting the halyard to the SeeArch using a figure 8 follow through. And the figure 8 follow through is a knot that's the standard for high angle rescue and that sort of thing. So that's what she was familiar with. It is a very secure knot, but as you can see, it does take quite a bit more time to tie it. So either the bowline or the figure 8 follow through. More than likely, most mariners will use a bowline, but either one will work. So once she got the knot all sorted out, she went back to the halyard winch in the cockpit and started to winch me up. Now, something to note is that Hannah is actually not very big. I'm about 160 pounds plus the gear. And Hannah's also not familiar with winching. So she hasn't sailed much, doesn't understand exactly how to use a winch. Was not, I think, taking full advantage of an ergonomic position. Yet, it took some time. And you can see that she's working pretty hard here. Trying to find out, trying to work the 2-speed winch. So we did get her a little bit of coaching, but she did manage to, work it, and eventually did get me out of the water. So again, I just want to point out that even with somebody who's small and potentially inexperienced, I wasn't doing anything really to help her. It was taking quite a while to get up, but I did eventually get up. And you can see here, I'm just letting my arms sit loose. And I didn't fall out of it. So, even for someone who's unconscious, if you can get the SeeArch around the arms, it holds quite securely. So the trick definitely would be to get the SeeArch around their body. So we've both been in the water, we've both tried the SeeArch, and now we're just going to do a little bit of a debrief and just talk a little bit about what worked well, what didn't work, what sort of complications might have come up, and that sort of thing. So we're going to start with Hannah. Hannah went in first, and so Hannah will tell us a little bit about her experience from start to finish. So what do you think? How did it work? How did it feel?
It felt really good. It was easy to find the toggle to pull. That was no problem. Finding the Velcro was a little bit of a challenge.
And that's to separate the tube from the belt.
The tube from the belt, yeah. Very easy to slip your arms underneath, and the raise felt completely safe. I could have been unconscious, felt like. And
when pulled you out of the water?
When you pulled me out of the water, yeah.
Okay.
And then sitting was a little bit more challenging. Definitely doable, but felt like I needed to be more in control of my body when I was sitting in there. But yeah.
Okay. How did it feel as far as floating? Floating.
Perfect. Very safe.
Okay. And then you mentioned also you're a surfer. Mm-hmm. And this is something that all the examples that I've talking with the designer and that sort of thing, we've talked about using the sport versus the mariner version, and we talk about stand-up paddleboarding and canoeing and kayaking, but I don't think surfing has ever come up. And so Hannah was mentioning that as a surfer, especially if you happen to be out there by yourself, that it could actually be quite useful as well. And for surfing, you wouldn't wear it obviously on the front, but you could wear it on the back, and should something happen and you need help, I could see that this could absolutely be useful, and this is something you brought up.
Yeah, you could definitely even pull it and then put it over the surfboard somehow too, and just sit there for hours waiting for somebody to find you.
Right, so it would make you feel quite a bit more secure if you're out there.
Definitely, I would love to have one of those on if I was surfing by myself.
Perfect. All right, well, thanks again for your help.
You're welcome.
All right. So, final thoughts. First off, I think generally speaking, it worked pretty much the way I expected it to work. I have seen a few little videos here and there. No big surprises, no major complications. I think it did work as advertised. So a couple of points that have come to mind for me is I do recognize that it is an extra piece of equipment to buy, maintain, and wear. Having said that, we've adapted, we've grown through the years, depending on how long you've been sailing, from not wearing PFDs to wearing PFDs to whatever. So this is just part of the progression going forward when it comes to marine safety. It does take a bit of practice in that, any piece of equipment, ideally you should go and practice with it so that when you need it, there are no surprises. So for both Hannah and myself, the only issue we had was once it was inflated is how to separate the bladder from the belt. There is a short land-based video from the manufacturer that does demonstrate that. I'll have a link for you in the description below of when it inflates, how to separate it. Other than that, it worked perfectly well. There was nothing difficult about it beyond just separating it so that you could manipulate it as needed. I think it does work well in its all three modes, which is it does provide extra buoyancy, which is, I think, a very definite positive, even if you're wearing a PFD. And as I said, this is not a replacement for a PFD. So if you're wearing your PFD and if you're sitting in the arch, it will float you a bit higher, keeping your head up and out of the water, out of the waves, not getting splashed, that sort of thing. So definitely an added benefit there. The visibility, I think that goes without saying, that any crew overboard situation, trying to find somebody, even with a crew overboard pole that you throw, maybe the swimmer or the person in the water can't reach it, that sort of thing. So the visibility here, absolutely, it's number one feature in my mind. And then using it as a recovery. So yes, we had some benign conditions. We didn't have big waves. We had a bit of a breeze, but beyond that, we didn't have to struggle in big seas. But I don't see how that would be an issue for this particular product, because I think recovering anyone and recovering someone who's unconscious are extreme challenges in any crew overboard situation, and in heavier weather, it just compounds that. So I think as far as a recovery tool goes, either having it under the arms or sitting in it, it is nice and simple, and it does work well. The one thing we did notice was that for Hannah, trying to winch me up by myself, my halyard winch isn't that big on this boat. So she did manage to get me up. She did have to struggle, but it was just her by herself lifting me up, and it did work. So, with a bigger crew, more people, it would work that much better. So it's nice to see that it could work even for 2 people. It takes some time, but it will work. It can be used in pretty much any water sport. So, Hannah mentioned surfing. If you're out, if surfers are out by themselves or whatever, you get, sucked out to the ocean, who knows? It could be useful to have, if someone comes looking for you and you're out in the open ocean. It doesn't matter what what water sport you're partaking. Canoeing, kayaking, stand-up paddleboard, surfing, whatever. I think there are applications all across the board for this product. And then final thoughts are the auto inflator. I've talked to the manufacturer, and there's talk, and they've been thinking about whether to offer an auto inflate version. So I certainly welcome your comments. Let me know what you think. Should they go with an auto inflate version? Should they go with an auto inflate version that can be disabled so you have the choice? Or is the manual version the better way to go? At this point, the ones I have were manual, but let me know what you think. Other than that, in summary, I think that the product worked as advertised, and I think that give it a thought and see if it works for you in your boating situations. New episodes go up every second Wednesday at 6 p.m. See you next time when I talk about what went well and what I could have done better in a close quarters, single-handed docking departure.